Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. Now what we're going to be doing today we're going to be going over my predictions for what I think the FIFA 17 ratings will be for the Preston North End players, guys. So what I base these ratings on basically is, it's sort of a mix really. It's a mix of my opinion, but also as well what I think EA will give the players as well, because normally they're two quite different things really, and EA are normally quite hesitant to give big upgrades and big downgrades to players. They're normally quite similar. So what I've done is I've used their last year's rating for basically a basis to base my predictions on this year, guys. So let me know in the comments down below what your predictions are, guys. I'd be very interested to know. Some I think will be very close to what they actually are, and some I'm not really sure. I took a risk on what I think they might be. So guys, the first rating is of Andres Lindegaard. Now what I've given him, I've actually given him a -3 downgrade, guys, and that may look a little bit harsh on him, but what I think is, I think that last year he was a bit overrated on FIFA really. I think 77's too high for our #1 keeper, and for a goalkeeper in the championship to be 77 rated, they really have to be like incredible, and I don't think Lindegaard is just that. So what I've done is I've given him a 74 rating, which I think is more than respectable. I've given him a rare card as well, and I think that 74 rated would do Lindegaard justice really. And then the next card, guys, is Tom Clark. Now this was actually an interesting one. I actually gave him a -1 downgrade. I don't feel like he had the best of seasons last year. However, I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed the same at 68, but if I had to be harsh on Tom Clark, I'd probably give him a 67 next year, so I wouldn't be surprised if he was to go down by one, but I also wouldn't be too surprised if he did stay the same. Bailey Wright, I then gave an upgrade by +1. I think he's had a good season last year. I think that he's deserved a little upgrade really. I think he was a bit inconsistent at times, but honestly I think he probably was our best centre-back we had at the club last year, so I've given him an upgrade by +1, so 68. I think that's a fair rating. I've left him as a non-rare. I don't really know how EA work out who's rare and who's non-rare, so I've just left Bailey Wright as a non-rare, but 68 I think is a fair rating for Bailey Wright in my opinion. And then Paul Huntington I've also given the +1 upgrade to. I think 65 was a little bit low last year, so I've given him an upgrade to a 66 rated. I made him a rare card, so it sort of makes up for his lesser rating really, and I think that last year he proved that he's more than capable of being a solid championship defender, so I think for that reason he deserves a little bit of an upgrade to a 66. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below, guys. And then Greg Cunningham, guys, this one was a pretty hard one because he's got to get an upgrade next year for FIFA 17, but what I was struggling with was what really to give him, because at some points last season he was playing like out of his skin. So what I think, I sort of went on more of what I think EA will probably do for this and what I think. So what I've given him a +5 upgrade, guys, to a 71 rated card. I think he's more than capable of being higher than that, but I don't think EA, they're not really the type of people that give more than, you know, like +5 upgrades. So I've given him a +5 upgrade to a 71 rated. I've improved some of his stats, and I've also made him a rare card as well. I think 71 should do Cunningham justice. He could be a little bit higher, obviously, but I don't think EA are going to stretch that far really. But 71, I think that's a fair rating for Cunningham. Fantastic last year. Hopefully he can repeat his success this year. And then the next card is Alan Brown. Now this guy has to be a silver next year, guys, and I've given him a 65 rated card. I think that because I've given him a +3 upgrade. Last year he was a non-rare bronze card, so he's got to get an upgrade from that this year, and I think that this card would probably do him justice. I don't think EA would give him much more than this, because if you're looking at game modes like career mode, they like to have young players have quite low ratings so that they can grow a lot in potential, and I think that 65 would be a good starting point for Alan Brown to start off from. And so let me know what you think of that in the comments down below, but I think that would be a fair card for Alan Brown. Now this is a card that I really struggle with sorting out, guys. This is Daniel Johnson, and I was just in a real muddle really as to what to give him, to be honest, because it's so frustrating, because at times of last season, if he started playing, if he finished the season last year how he started it, then he could be like a 71 rated, 72 rated. He was playing incredible last year, but because he had such a big dip in form in the middle of the season, I really didn't know what to give him. So what I decided to do, I decided to give him a +1 upgrade for this season, and I also made him a rare card as well to sort of make up for it. I'm not really sure what EA are going to do with this card really, because if they'd done their research into how Johnson played last year, he was very up and down. But if you look at his stats from last year, you know, he was our top scorer, so maybe EA will just look at that and then they'll give him like a +3 upgrade or something like that. I'm not really so sure with this one really. This is probably the one that I struggle with most really for Daniel Johnson, but I've given him a +1 upgrade. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys think of that. I think he's more than capable of being like a 67 or a 68 next year. I wouldn't be surprised at that, but I've gone with a 66 just because he had a bit of a dip in form last season, so I think that might be a fair result for him. Next up, guys, is Paul Gallagher. Now this guy has to get an upgrade this year, guys. He played out of his skin last season. He was, in my opinion, he was probably our second best player last season if we're not including Jordan Pickford, but he was just fantastic for us last season, and I think he more than deserves a big upgrade this year. So what I've given him a +4 upgrade, guys. And I've also made him a rare card as well. I think last year we only had like 1 or 2 rare silver cards, so I really hope that EA this year give us more rare cards, because when it's non-rare, they don't really look that great. So Gallagher, I've given him a 70 rated. I think that's fair enough for Gallagher, and I've also given him a stat upgrade as well. So I think that 70 rated for Gallagher would be a fair rating, if I'm being honest. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Now, this one as well was one that I really struggled with. This one was probably the one I struggled with most as to what they will give Joe Garner, because he didn't have his best season last year, but honestly, he still his overall game, he still played quite well, but obviously he didn't get the goals that he would have liked to in last season. So I'm really struggling with what to give this one. I think he will probably get a downgrade, but I don't think he'll get downgraded by much. I've given him a -1 downgrade to a 68. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he was 67 next year, but honestly, I thought that... I honestly don't know what to think of this one, really. I give him a -1 downgrade. Let me know what you think of that one in the comments down below, because this one I'm probably most interested in, Joe Garner, because I really didn't know what to give him. I gave him... And then Jermaine Beckford I've left completely as he was. Obviously, he was injured for pretty much all of the season, so it's hard to justify why he would deserve an upgrade or a downgrade. So I've just left him as a 70 rating. I've made him rare, but that's about it for Beckford, really. You can't say much about that. Hopefully, this season's going to be the one where he stays fit all year and he just bags in the goals for us again. So that was our starting 11 players, guys. Now we'll go over some of the more squad players that we've got at the club currently. So I'll show you guys 4 players at a time, so we can basically roll through these a bit faster now. Grimshaw's a bit of an odd rating, really, because last year on FIFA, he was rated 48. So... honestly, I don't know what EA are going to do this year with Grimshaw, if I'm being completely honest. I've not actually seen him play this year, but honestly, I think 48 is just obscenely low. I mean, unless he's absolutely atrocious, but I've given him a +10 upgrade to a 58. It's still a low rating, even though I've given him a massive upgrade, but 58 I think probably might be something that EA would do. I'm not really sure, to be honest. And then Ben Pearson, I've got a feeling that they're going to keep Ben Pearson as a bronze card, so for that reason, I've given him a +5 upgrade to a 64 rated rare card. I think he deserves that. I think towards the end of the last season, he showed what he could do, and I think he definitely deserves a big upgrade, if I'm being completely honest. And Ben Pringle, I've not seen play, so I've left him exactly the same as he was last year. However, I have just made him a rare card, so I'm not really sure what they'll do with Pringle, if I'm being completely honest. Obviously, I can't really judge what I think he should be, because I didn't get to see him play last season. And John Walsh, I've also left the same as well. I think he should be 1 higher. However, I don't think EA are going to give him an upgrade, if I'm being completely honest. So that's the reason I've kept John Walsh the same. I think he should be a 64 rated, but honestly, I don't think EA are going to stretch that far. And now, guys, to the rest of the strikers. First of all, with Jordan Hugill. Jordan Hugill, I've given him an upgrade of +4. I think he deserves that. I think he will still be a bronze card, as he is still a fairly young player. And I can't see him being a silver card this year, if I'm being completely honest, guys. So I think 62 as well. I think that's a fair rating for Jordan Hugill, if I'm being completely honest. Last year was sort of like... he had a lot to do, really, for Preston, and he probably wouldn't have expected to play that much. So 62, I think, would be a fair rating for Jordan Hugill, if I'm being completely honest. Owen Doyle, I was a bit struck with, really. I gave him a -1 downgrade. I think that's fair for Doyle, really. I think he'll still be a silver card. I've left him as a non-rare silver card, so he's still in and around the same area. I wouldn't be surprised if he stayed the same, but honestly, I've given him a 65 rating. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Stevie May as well, I've given him exactly the same as he was last year. I couldn't really upgrade or downgrade Stevie May, as I really didn't get to see him play that much. I think he played like 5 matches last season before he got injured for the rest of the season, so I really couldn't judge Stevie May that much. And Mackinock I've actually downgraded by 5. Obviously, he didn't have the best of seasons last year, but that's not why I'm downgrading him by 5. I'm only doing that because I think that he was a bit overrated on FIFA last year. I think 71, 72 was a bit too high for Mackinock, if I'm being honest. And I think that being 67 would be a bit more realistic for him. And now, guys, to the final 4 players. What I've done here, Humphrey, I've given him a -1 downgrade. Yet again, it was difficult to do, really, because he was injured for a large majority of the season. I think he'll be around that region, if I'm being completely honest. And I've given him a -1 downgrade because I think that he'll be changed from a right mid to a right wing back. That affects the rating somehow, so I think that he'll be slightly lower than he was last year. And Callum Robinson, I've given him an upgrade by +3. I think last year being 59 rated was a bit too low for him, so 62 I think will be more realistic for Callum Robinson. And Woods, I've given him an upgrade by +1. I think that Callum Woods had a fantastic year last season, and I think that being a 65 rated more than anything shows how solid he was. So I think that that's what EA will do, if I'm being completely honest. honest. And then Tommy Spurt, I'm not still in place, so I've left him exactly the same. So guys, as you can see on screen now, that is the starting 11 of Preston players which I am predicting. So it'll be interesting to see actually how many of these predictions I actually get right. So what I want you guys to do is comment in the comments down below. Do you agree with my predictions, and what are your predictions? I'd be very interested to know for this one actually, because it's always interesting to see what EA actually do for them. So that will wrap it up for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, make sure you do leave a like on this video. Also subscribe around here if you are new. As well as that, make sure you check out all the links in the description down below. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. I always tweet before I upload, so therefore you'll never miss an upload ever again, guys. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.